Most people who make the long, rattling drive to Signal, Arizona come for one thing: the old stone mill. Visitors snap their photos, wander among the ruins, and then head back the way they came, never realizing that Signal holds another secret. Few know that beyond the mill, tucked into a washboard landscape of creosote and broken stone, lies a pioneer cemetery dating back to the late 1800s. There are no signs pointing your way. No markers. Nothing to suggest that men, women, and children were buried out there under the relentless Arizona sun. And maybe that's for the best. Over the years, the cemetery has suffered its share of disrespect. Stories circulate about people riding ATVs straight across the graves, with no respect for the hallowed ground. Others have come hunting for relics, disturbing the earth where families once said their last goodbyes. Finding the cemetery feels almost like chasing a mirage. The faint trail disappears without warning, then reappears where you least expect it. On our trip, we were lucky to run into someone who knew the land better than we did. Without their help, I don't think we would have ever reached our destination. The cemetery is hidden in the desert hills. You may only be 20 feet away and not see it. And then suddenly it's there. It seems to just appear out of nowhere. A single mesquite tree stands in the center, surrounded by white crosses, neat cairns, and a few marked headstones, all kept safe by a rusty fence. The cemetery is lovingly cared for by a group known only as the Americans. But pioneer cemeteries like to keep their secrets, and the exact number of people laid to rest has been lost to time. Researchers estimate the number of graves is between 20 and 65, with only a few carrying names. The known graves are a testament to the harsh reality of pioneer life, like Charles Hall, who lost his life to a scorpion sting at the young age of 6, John McComas the miner, who was crushed underground, and Rosa and her infant daughter Wendidlata, who are buried together. These are just a few of the stories of the people that are laid to rest here. The oldest grave dates all the way back to 1888, and the most recent is from 1998, showing that long after Signal faded, the cemetery was still in use. This was the Catholic cemetery. It consisted of miners, ranch hands, and the Hispanic families who had once formed the quiet heart of Signal's community. But even in a place as isolated as Signal, the town couldn't escape the divisions that marked so much of America's past. Because of this, the Catholic cemetery was only one piece of a larger, fragmented story. Local lore speaks of 2 more cemeteries, each belonging to a different corner of the community. Records indicate that there may have been an Anglo or Protestant burial ground. Obituaries from the 1880s and 1890s don't match the known plots of the Catholic cemetery, leaving gaps, names without resting places, families without markers. Travelers in the mid-20th century mentioned seeing another small graveyard near the riverbed. Today there are no headstones or markers. If the graveyard did exist, it was most likely washed away long ago, but maybe it's still out there lost in the desert. It makes you wonder. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, miles from any modern road, and you suddenly stumble across a line of stones too straight to be natural. When you spot a lone iron post standing stubbornly upright, its purpose long forgotten. When you notice a shallow depression in the earth that looks just a little too intentional. Was there once a graveyard under your feet? Then there is the final and most elusive cemetery. Like many pioneer towns, Signal had Chinese laborers, essential hands who helped build the town's early economy. Their presence is confirmed in payroll records and in scattered artifacts found over the years, and yet they are absent from the original Catholic cemetery. Historians believe that the members of Signal's Chinese community were buried near the Big Sandy River wash, separate from the Catholic and Anglo graves. It wasn't unusual for the time. Cultural traditions, prejudice, and frontier segregation shaped even the way people were laid to rest. The fate of the cemetery may have been claimed by the river, a river known for sudden and unforgiving floods. Any Chinese cemetery that might have once existed on the river bank could easily have been washed away, its history dispersed across the desert floor. A few explorers have claimed to have found pieces of pottery and burnt fragments of joss paper near the river's edge. Offerings for the dead. Echoes of rituals carried out far from home. But nothing was confirmed and no human remains have ever been found. No clear sign of a cemetery. Only hints, whispers, and artifacts that feel out of place until you remember who once lived here. The desert holds its mysteries strangely. Some remain untouched for centuries, others vanish overnight, consumed by floods, wind, and time. And somewhere along the Big Sandy Wash, beneath layers of sand and shifting memory, lies one of Signal's greatest mysteries. a community that helped build the town but left behind a resting place the desert refuses to reveal. In the end, Signal's 3 lost cemeteries tell a story the desert never fully managed to bury, of a town where even in death, people were separated by culture, by race, and by the divisions of their time. And as the years passed, the land reclaimed those resting places one by one, showing no bias, leaving only scattered clues and quiet reminders of the communities who once lived, worked, and were laid to rest beneath the Arizona sun.